So Erin and I are hanging out on a Friday. She's got a closing today. Woo-hoo! Woo, woo, woo. But we're talking about calling people, and you just told me a story. I'd like you to repeat it. Like when you start calling people, especially people you know, what happens on the phone?
They keep me on the phone forever.
Right.
But a lot of times it's people, like I call Zillow leads and like I was on the phone for an hour with a lady and I kept trying to like circle it back around to be like, okay, and like kind of get it. And it was just, then they kept.
Yes. And the hard part is that unfortunately it is a kind effort, but it's inefficient in the sense of you know that you have to touch so many people in a small amount of time. So we're going to talk about how we can manage that. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's what I need help with.
Right. So the key part is starting to introduce early in calls that you have an appointment following them. So you create a hard stop in the call, meaning, so right now it's roughly 9:19. Okay, so let's say that I'm getting on the phone and I can feel that this person's going to talk, and then you just say, you know what? Hey, at 9:30 I got to kind of cut this off a little bit, or at 9:45, right? Like as soon as, like, meaning in the first 7-8 minutes you realize, then you pick something 15 minutes out later that you have to do. You know what? I got an important medical call coming in. I got to take it. I'm something for my kids, something from my partner or my spouse, something from the doctor, something for my dog. I don't know, whatever you want to, whatever you feel comfortable. But it's preparing that little script of introduction. And first you politely let them know, but you give them enough time to keep talking so that they don't feel that you're being curt with them. Right? So you're like, so let's say it was now, I'd be like, hey, I got a call at 9:40. I'm just letting you know that, and I need about 5 minutes to prepare for that call. So I got about 10 or 15 minutes, but let's keep going. Okay? And that is just the script. But the idea is that, especially because when you go into calling, you're getting ready to calling, to write it down. Write your introduction out. So what is your introduction going to be? Let's write it out.
Okay.
What is your style of appointment that you like? What is something that you have? Think about it this way: in your normal way of business, has there ever been a time where you had to cut somebody off? Give me an example of one recently.
So yesterday, the same lady that then later kept me on the phone for a while, I had to go for a walkthrough. So I let her know.
A perfect example,
after talking,
right?
I was like, I have to go meet an appointment, but I'll call you as soon as I get
home. See how it was okay because
I actually had something.
Right. And the thing is you actually have something, and that is that you need to prospect more.
Yeah.
Right, which is the most important thing in your business, is that you prospect more. And therefore you cannot let people take too much of your time, because people have diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah. Right? Lots of people say that I have diarrhea of the mouth because I talk constantly, and it's true, but it's mostly to get me where I'm going. And that means we want to, because when we're time blocking and we have 2 hours to call, we want to make sure that we can get in 30 calls and 7 to 10 conversations of 10 to 15 minutes. Because once you get past the 15-minute mark, are you really?
You're just circling.
Right. I mean, it's probably 20 minutes, right? Like I used to have these deep calls when I was at Sales Logics calling, and basically it was a half an hour was the max, right? Like we know that, so because once you're 10 minutes in, you then put it 15 minutes out, and then also you tell them, oh, well, that's going to be about 2.5 hours. Right? Because the thing is they're going to want to call you back, but they're going to want to call you back right away. But like once you tell them that I have a walkthrough, and then I have another appointment after that. So I'll be free around 8:30 or 7 o'clock tonight when you're at dinner, right? Like there's just, and then the other thing is knowing people in your database when you get going, who is the talker,
right?
Like would even flag people that that you touch them, but you want to touch them up against, like, you call them at, you know, if you have dinner at 5:30, you call them at 5 o'clock, right? Hey, we're outside waiting to get into the restaurant. I just wanted to say hi, right?
Checking in.
I'm not kidding, but it's because you're a business professional and your job is talking to people on the phone. Welcome, madam. But controlling what you can control, and that is not letting people overtalk you. It's the same thing on bingers. It's the same thing on walkthroughs. Like, people will, to me, when it comes to work, the way that you shorten the phone calls is you send them something in writing and you tell them you'll call them in 3 hours to discuss it. Right? So that they have a chance to read it, because what happens when you give somebody something to read it, they naturally have lots of questions, and then you create a nightmare because you give it to them and they start asking questions and they want to talk it 3 and 4 times, where if you give it to somebody, hey, read it and I'll talk to you in the morning at 10 a.m. about it, and then we'll go through your questions, and then when you get on the phone, you're like, okay, what was your first question? Well, I don't have any. Okay, cool. Right? Because a lot of times they will work out their questions without you.
Right.
Yeah, so, woo! Erin and I are here working hard, so she wrote down her script. So Erin, like, give me a shot at it.
So I'm so glad we got to touch base. I feel like I have a great starting off point. I have to leave for an appointment in 15 minutes. Let's go over quick what we discussed, and I'll send an email and we can touch back later today.
Awesome, right? So you got to write it out and you got to repeat it over and over again so that it comes to you when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
You at least you catch yourself and you're like, oh, now you don't have to think about how you're gonna say it. Great job, Erin Boyle. Yay!
Woo.
Right, so what Erin and I are gonna do is we're gonna start calling leads. So the document on the drive is called Keys to Calling, Less Complicated versus More Complicated. So when we're gonna be calling Zillow leads, we're just going to use this script, right? So at the top of it, it says Keys to Calling. There's some videos to watch, but in blue that's highlighted. So you want to call me and see how it goes?
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how are you? Who is this?
Oh, yes, it's Erin Boyle. How are you?
I am well.
Okay, sorry. No.
That's okay.
I was like,
Yeah, stick with the blue. All right,
Okay.
let's try it again.
hi, Jeff.
Who is this?
Oh, this is Erin Boyle with eXp Realty. I was calling to let you know that I have a great deal, a new property. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Doesn't have a pool. It's in Mesa, and it is priced aggressively at $275.
Awesome, Erin.